So, what happens when pain you've carried for years becomes too heavy to carry alone? For Dylan, the pain started back in elementary school and followed him for years, but somewhere along the way, everything began to change. So, Dylan, when did the pain become something you can no longer carry by yourself?
When the pain really became like something that I couldn't bear anymore, I think it was when I was in third grade.
Okay.
I think it's when it's when it started. I had a good friendships when I was younger. Before
Before third grade?
before, like my best friend growing up, and eventually that's a whole different story why he's no longer in my life. But I had friends, but in third grade is when it changed, of like getting bullied from like people that were like, because I was behind a lot of kids. I had I had learning disabilities.
Okay.
I had
So, this is before third grade you figured this out?
well my
Or
mom,
since
and
you remember?
since I could remember, my mom could tell you a lot more about
Okay.
my past, but I did have a lot of learning disabilities, fine motor problems, and because like this is on a whole different subject, but I didn't learn how to tie my shoes until I was 7, and learn how to ride a bike until I was 12.
Okay.
So like, that
Yeah.
just tells you with the fine motor disabilities that I had, and just being overweight and having a seizure disorder and all this, like it just caused a lot of pain. Of like, I was dealing with that, but I was also dealing with people like making fun of me and teasing me and really going after my character when regarding to
Yeah.
everything.
So is this so did it all come to a head in third grade and everything you're sharing was building through the early years, or is it like that's where you're kind of your first core memory of when you started noticing like the uptick in bullying and the mistreatment and stuff due to just the way your life has been? Is that accurate?
Yeah, I would say third grade is when I first began to notice the bullying.
Okay.
Like,
And
and that's when
yeah.
it started. I think it really took a turn, not so much in middle school. Like, it kind of went silent in middle school a little bit, but the worst part of it, I think, was when I was in high school,
Okay.
of like people picking on me, like me, I was trying to fit in high school with playing soccer, playing sports, trying to find my queue of friends.
Yeah.
Didn't really end up that way, and a lot of times kids would be picking on me, calling me like dildo, calling me fat,
Yeah.
like calling me like just you name it, they were doing, and they were trying to pick fights with me, making sure I fought in school, and I was like, I'm not doing that.
And that was in high school.
And I was in high school.
Okay, so from third grade all the way up to
12th
high
grade.
school.
12th grade is when I was bullied. Yes.
Yeah, so that whole time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of like recall like the elementary to middle school, the high school years of just like how like the seizure disorder or something that you were going through just like affected you during that time and then like alongside the bullying? Or do all those years you kind of just look at it just like that was just like one chunk of time where it was just pretty much the same, it just changed as I grew up?
It's more so a change as I grew up. I would say, having the seizure disorder I was on a lot of different medications for that growing up.
Yeah.
Cause like I would be able to have a seizure while my mom was breastfeeding me.
Hmm.
So like I grew up with the seizure disorder, and I think looking back on my life, it changed into like really bad, like anger outbursts.
Oh,
Like where
interesting.
my parents would have to hold me down until I calmed down, because I would be like punching them. I would be like doing everything. And like I would be like, people would probably think I was bipolar because that's how bad it was.
Oh, interesting.
And so I think just from that, like just ended up throughout my years of like
Hmm.
getting bullied, and then a lot of it just came to fruition. Like I'll speak to of when everything started to like change for the better.
Yeah, we'll get there, so don't get ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah.
But so through this time, the bullying, the seizures, everything is just it sounds like a childhood with just lots of just different things as like you see kids like developing that weren't going through that. And how so when you, I assume because there's a piece of there where like identity kicked in and you're just like questions started being asked like internally and you start asking yourself, And so what did you start believing about yourself from third grade to high school? You can put it all together in one. You don't have to like go through the years. But what message or messages did you start believing about yourself through this time, dealing with everything that you were going through?
You know, I wasn't, the things that I was dealing with was I wasn't loved. I was, you know, I wasn't a lovable person. I was a disgrace to humanity.
Mm,
And I was, that I shouldn't belong in this world anymore. Like, you know, like loved ones wouldn't miss me because of all this pain and suffering that I've been dealing with. And that's really what, you know, I held on to through all through high school and even into early parts of college too.
okay.
Like, you know, like the bullying stopped once I get to college, but the feelings that I got from all those years of being bullied still stuck with me to the
Yeah.
fact that, you know, I was struggling.
How many do you remember like what someone said to you from either like way back? Are there certain things that people said within the bullying that like really shaped like messages that you started to carry? Or was it more of a compounding effect of you just heard these messages day in and day out and so you just started saying, well, this must be who I am.
It's pretty much that. I thought it was just me. Like it was hard. It was hard because like in order for me to relieve my pain, like I felt like I shouldn't be here anymore.
Mm,
Like I should kill myself.
yeah.
And you know, that's really, it's really hard for people to hear, you
Yeah.
know, and it's really hard for me to talk about being that I was doing that, but it was just a compounding effect that I just didn't deserve to live because I was dealing with like all this bullying, all this negativity, all this like you name it. Like it was just so hard and put me down so much that my mom tried everything in her power to make me feel better.
Mm.
And you know, God bless my mother who basically saved me in my childhood. But like, you know, it was hard.
Yeah. So if you went back and asked, so all grown up, 12th grade, which is say end of senior year, if you went back and asked senior year Dylan, who are you? What would you have said?
Saying that who I am now,
No, 12th grade Dylan. So like say you went back and talked to 12th grade Dylan, what would you say? Like, hey Dylan, who are you? What would that Dylan have said?
disgrace to mankind. Like literally like you don't fit in anywhere. Like you didn't make JV or varsity your senior year. Like for soccer, like you are a disgrace. Like you're
Mm,
overweight. Like you don't deserve to live.
mm. So do you feel like anyone really understood what you were going through? You said you had some like close friends. Did those close friends know as well? Or
No, no one really knew how I was feeling. I think it was, and my school didn't really know how to handle it because they would always like, if I was getting bullied and I was having a hard time,
yeah,
and I started crying and I was like just out of control, like they would send me home. Like they would send me home. They wouldn't send the buller,
yeah,
like who was bullying me home.
yeah,
They would send me home. Like, and that made me feel like worse because it made me feel like I'm the problem. I'm the
yeah.
person.
When you're on the receiving end of the bullying, you're the one who seemed to get in trouble.
And that was just, no one really knew how much I was hurting. You know, my mom probably could have sensed it,
Yeah.
but no one really knew how much I was hurting. And I had to sign contracts in high school saying I wouldn't say to kill myself anymore.
Mm,
Like it was like no one really seemed to care how I was feeling. They were all just making sure that I followed these certain rules of not saying this anymore. And let's send him home to thinking it's going to protect him. But really, like it was making me feel worse.
what's one thing that you wish, looking back, like you said, it seemed like you just had to follow rules and people didn't really care. What's one thing like looking back, you're just like, I wish one person just did this one thing, and it would have made the pain go away, but I would have felt like noticed, seen, or heard. Is there one thing that just like maybe you're just like, I wish someone would have just maybe even just asked a question even. Is it
I wish someone would literally just said, "Are you okay?" Like, you don't really hear that nowadays from people. Like, "Are you okay?" Like, people don't post that on social media. You don't hear that in church. Like you don't hear that with like your family. Like, no, like sometimes you'll hear it, but it's like a common term that you don't really hear very often.
That
Like,
is,
are you okay? And, and I think if someone asked me that, I think I would have been able to lose it and say, no, I am not okay. Like I'm hurting. Like I'm getting bullied here. I feel like a disgrace. Like I just want to leave this planet because I can't handle this anymore. Like
yeah,
I want to be, and I wish someone just said, "Are you okay?" So I could be able to share that how I was feeling. Because you don't really see even now like football people getting bullied or like if it was just me and you talking, like when would you have thought of like asking Dylan, "Are you okay?" Like
yeah.
not a lot of people would. But
I would not say it's a question that I
yeah,
would typically ask people or think
yeah,
about asking. It's mostly, how you doing?
yeah,
No, it's never like an intentional, are you okay?
yeah.
And then creating that space to just really check in on somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of people just don't ask that. And I just wish someone would have asked me that. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself in
Yeah,
this
yeah,
talk, but eventually that's what someone did and it changed my life.
great. Well, let's start getting there then. But before we get to that part where someone asked the question, was it in high school or because then you went into college, and is it high school that you realized that this burden, I'm gonna call it burden, is that fair or is it a different
No,
term?
it was fair.
What you were carrying just was starting to become too heavy for you. It seems like that was really kicking off in high school, or is it just like in college? Did something change when you went to college and started your young adult like years?
I think it was more so when I started in college in my young adult years that I really felt like this burden is way too much. Like because when I met our common friend Matt,
Yeah.
McKinsey, I grew up with him and then I went to college with him and I would take the bus with him. And there was times where me and him would have fights like in walking to campus because he was basically saying, Dylan, like you're enough. Like you're worth it. Like you are like, you need to stop feeling this way. And, and then to me, it's like, on just another person burdening me of like saying like go like fix yourself, like to me it felt like I was getting bullied again by Matt even though he wasn't bullying me. Just all those years of being bullied, of people saying those things to me of like you need to be okay, like just rub it off. Like
Yeah.
how can I do that?
Yeah,
Like
because it's not so much the words; it's like it's the type of behavior to which the words are being communicated.
yeah,
It just felt like very similar. It's just like we had bully A and we had like bully B. Bully A was
yeah,
saying mean things, bully B saying nice things, but it's just like the way it's going about. It's just like
yeah,
your body was like, this feels very similar to like the trauma
yeah.
of the past.
Yeah, and as I grew up in my early adult years, I went to this retreat called the Crucible Project,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and that was that was a big life changer in me because I really learned how to. I really been was able to like fight my demons in that aspect.
Mm.
I can't really go into what's all about the Crucible Project because they like to say it's like Fight Club. You don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah. It's built on the
Yeah,
the experience, which makes total sense.
and so, I think just my early adult years, I learned that everything that I tried was helping me. Like I started putting myself into my faith in Christ. And because I grew
So
up
did you?
Catholic.
Okay, I was gonna say, can we talk about that before?
Yeah.
Like, so you grew up Catholic, and tell us a little bit about your faith journey during this time as well.
So I grew up Catholic. I did all my sacraments. I was an altar boy. I was doing
Oh, so you did
everything.
all the things.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
I never knew that you were that involved.
yeah, I was on the Catholic choir. Like
Yeah.
I was doing everything for the Catholic Church. I would even be the one to carry the bread and wine down to the priest for him to bless it. And then I would be a little kid handing out, this is blood of Christ. Like
Okay. Yeah.
I was doing everything.
How long did you do that for? Your whole childhood
My whole childhood, yeah.
into high school as well?
Yes and no. I was a little bit into high school. I wasn't as consistent in high school because I felt, how a lot of people get church hurt. I
Hmm.
was I was hurt by the Catholic Church.
Okay.
And so I went a few times with my grandparents when I would stay the night with them,
Yeah.
during this time because my stress relief, the thing that helped me get through all this bullying was, yeah, it was my mom,
Mm-hmm.
but it was also my grandparents, like my dad's parents. Like they were big in my life, and just going over there just to spend the night and spend time with my grandparents. They would take care of me, make me dinner, like they would, or we'd go out to dinner, or like my grandpa would take me out to play football,
Yeah.
so like it was, it was just that they were helping me. And so, I think,
So in the high school years, your grandparents, so you kind of left the Catholic Church then in
yeah.
your high
and
school years
and I would go with my grandparents to church every
to
now
their
and then,
church. Okay. Was it a
every
Catholic
Catholic
church?
church, because
Okay.
my grandparents are big Catholics, but they still are. But my grandma will venture out into the Christian community
Okay.
with me.
All right.
But my grandpa's a big Catholic. But nothing's wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
But I think I was going to their church every now and then with them, and then there was a point in my life where I was like, I'm just gonna stay home. I'm not gonna go to church.
Okay. Yeah.
You
And
know,
so that was in high school, and then when you're just like, I just don't want to go to church anymore, or was that right when you left high school?
yes.
Okay. And when did you start riding the bus with Matt? Was
Uh,
that after high school?
that was probably in 2014 to 2015.
Okay, cool. All right. So continue your story about how you ended up getting back to faith, and did your friend on the bus play a role in that at all?
Yeah, Matt did play a role in that. He kept inviting me to church, like, come to the church where my dad's a pastor at, like, come check it out. And I was like,
And it wasn't a Catholic church.
yeah. And
Okay.
I was like, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
I'm not ready yet. And then I went into front rank, in my first year of college, first couple of,
I think
like
that's when I first met you.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's when you first met me. Yeah. And that's when Matt was like, he was going to Flatiron's church,
Okay.
and he was starting to play there, and then he eventually became an intern there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and he told me, just come check it out. Like, it's gonna be like a big Christian concert. Like, come check it out. And so I did. It was a day where they were in like their football theme series,
Yeah.
and it was like they were like talking about how, you need a team around you to be able to help you out. And then I went over and hung out with David and your brother David and
Yeah.
Austin at their apartment and stuff. But it was like I finally felt like,
Was there something that you remember that was said? Like, what was it, the teammate thing that you're just like caught your attention about church maybe being different this time around?
yeah, because it was like saying that you need a team. You have friends now that are going to be big part of your life, that
Mm.
you can lean on as brothers and sisters in Christ, and that you shouldn't be doing this alone.
Yeah.
But you know, after that, like I was like going to church, I was doing all these things, right?
Yeah.
But I still had that part of me of like, I'm doing this alone because no one really, again, are you okay, Dylan?
Yeah.
You know,
Out of curiosity, it's kind of a little off tangent, but how many times did your friend on the bus invite you to go to church before you finally said yes?
like 15, 20 times.
Was it over a span of like years or months, or
It
just
was just like months. Like it was
it
like
was just
he,
like every time I'm on the bus, this guy's just always asking it, and just
yeah,
finally, did you just say yes just to get him off your back, or were you actually genuinely like,
I was generally interested. Like at that point, like I felt like I needed a Hail Mary. I needed something in my life,
yeah,
like to help me, because I'm going through these motions of like still feeling inadequate and feeling like miserable and feeling like I don't deserve to be here. And the fact is I needed something. So I decided, I'm going to check this out. And, I liked it. And eventually is where I met my wife,
yeah,
like that's, I'm always going to be thankful for finally Matt for sending me to church, because I found someone,
that's great.
but
Did you ever question where God was in your journey?
every day, like I still do sometimes, like,
Yeah,
it's something that you never goes away. Like you're always like asking God of like, God, is this where you want me? Like, is this what you really want me to do in my life?
yeah,
I want to be able to do this, but it's like, then you get that feeling pit in your stomach
yeah,
of like him telling you no, and then you do something and that pit goes away, like, because
yeah,
it's where he wants you to be. And so I've always like since I was getting bullied, like questioning like, God, why?
Mm.
Why is this happening to me? Like, why? Like,
Yeah.
why am I going through this?
Yeah.
Like, no one should be going through this. Like,
Mhm.
and I'm alone, and I don't, and it wasn't really until I think like in my later years of Flatirons Church to the beginnings of Red Rocks Church
Mhm.
that I go to right now,
Yeah.
that I didn't really feel God until that time. Like
Yeah.
before, like I knew God was with me, but God was I couldn't. There was like a barrier. Like I could. I'm talking on the phone with somebody, and like I can't hear them, but I can. But they can't hear me, but I can hear them. Like it was like that.
Yeah. When you're kind of going through stuff like that,
You lost your train of thought there, huh?
yeah, a little bit. Just kind of just trying to figure out when you are. I know that you mentioned you ended up having a therapy session that you were asked a key question about. Do you want to explain that a little bit
Yeah.
and when that was?
Yeah. That was probably like 2-3 years ago. Basically, like hold on. Let me pull up my notes here.
Yeah. Go.
Yeah, it was the season that changed was for me was when my therapist like 2-3 years ago asked me the simple question like, "Are you happy? Are you okay?" And I had to really think about that for a moment. Like I was taken back because I'm like, wow, like no one's ever asked me this before.
Yeah.
Like no one, not even my wife. Like like she could have asked me in her own way, but I wouldn't hear it. Like
So
I
it was
was
like the really the first time you heard that question
Yeah,
differently.
yeah. And then what happened was is I just completely broke down. Like I was crying. I was in tears. Like people would be like, this guy is so weak. He's crying so bad. Like like Autumn was like teasing me. She's like, you're crying more than me right now. And I'm like,
Mm.
I it's just like no one not in that moment. Like that forced me to admit something that I've been hiding for years of the fact that, growing up with like a seizure disorder, fine motor challenges, like I was bullied from the third grade to high school. Like I carried that pain of feeling like I wasn't enough for a long time and eventually struggled with, like I said,
Yeah.
suicidal thoughts that even after becoming an adult, I was still carrying those wounds. And that therapy session was a turning point because I was finally able to truly admit that I was hurting. And I felt like it was I was finally hearing God of like saying, I got you, my son.
Mm.
And I got you. Like I'm gonna bring you back. Like I'm gonna help you. Like you're not gonna do this alone anymore.
So it was that moment that your phone call felt like he was
I
actually
was a
felt like what
therapy session. I was in like I was in a
no, no, like you like a second ago you said like you were like hearing God, but he was like
oh
not
yeah,
there.
yeah, sorry,
And
yeah.
so like just with your faith journey, like that was kind of your moment where you're just like you and God like something clicked together.
Yeah, it was. Like I was like
Walk us through that feeling. Walk us through that moment the best you can.
like to me it just felt relief.
Yeah.
Like it felt relief. Like I was able to finally feel this calmness over me. Like I finally feeling like you're not alone. You're being heard. Like people are truly caring about you. You don't have to do this alone anymore. Like everyone's here to help you. Like you have people in your life like like you, like David, your brother, like Matt, like like all these close people in my life. Like even now Red Rock's friends that I have, like you don't have to do this alone. You have people in your life, like, and of course my wife too, right?
Yeah.
I can't forget her. She's a big part of my story. But like I just feel like it was just a relief. I felt free finally. I felt like free of my burden, even though it was still there. And I'm still dealing with those issues still to this day in my therapy sessions of like learning like how to cope with that and
Yeah.
like and stuff. Like how I would talk to little Dylan and how to make him feel better.
Yeah.
But I know that I have that relief of finally saying, God's like, you're here for a reason. and
Yeah.
that's just what it felt like. It felt relief
Yeah. So
in a long worded answer. Sorry, but
no,
yeah.
no, that's what I want to capture. I want to capture like these moments of just these transformation, these encounters of like people's stories, and especially around matters of faith, because they're just so profound. Because if you struggle with it, somebody else does,
Hmm.
or somebody else needs to hear what like you have to share in your journey, because it's going to deeply reflect with somebody else. So
Right.
definitely share everything that comes to mind. Specific, do you like? I can't help but just think, do you think like God spoke through your therapist to ask you that question? Like you just like heard it so differently. It almost felt like God intervened in that session.
I would say so. I would say so. Yeah. I think it was God finally. God was finally like, I need to do something different to get a hold of him, because
Yeah,
the way I'm doing it now, it hasn't worked.
yeah.
So let me change something.
And he just spoke.
And he just spoke. And I felt like, I even told my therapist this day, I don't feel like it was you talking to me.
Hmm.
I felt like it was Jesus saying like, are you okay? Come home, come back to me.
Hmm.
And that's why I think I just broke down crying, because I'm like, I'm finally hearing somebody telling me, asking me.
It's like the deep part of your heart was
Yeah,
finally felt like comforted, seen, heard, and it's
exactly.
just like, are you okay? And
Exactly.
that is that is just so powerful. I just don't want to just like skip past that moment,
Yeah.
because like literally have chills like listening to this right now, because I'm like, that is so like we're all searching for that. We're all searching for, can I finally feel God in my story?
Hmm.
And just like, God, I don't know how you're gonna do it. Speak through a therapist, speak through a concert, speak through my workout, speak through something. I just need to hear you differently in this moment. So kind of just now we're that's a moment in time, and you end up, normal life still goes on.
Hmm.
And so after that, tell us about how that kind of changed the trajectory of things, or maybe it didn't change the trajectory. What did that change how you started? What changed after that moment in the way that you saw your identity, or the way that you're like working through life at that point?
Yeah. Like at the same time, like, God met me in that moment through my brokenness. Right.
Yeah.
And he reminded me that my identity isn't defined by my past,
Yeah.
or my struggles. It's basically what other people or what other people say about me, right?
Yeah.
Like, basically Jesus placed these people around me. He placed all this around me to be able to speak to me, and I found healing and hope. And I'm still growing every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still, dealing with the stuff, and honestly answering finally in that moment of like, no, I'm not happy. Like, it was the beginning of God changing my life in a powerful way. Like, it was like finally learning that I am enough. I am I am a son of God. Like, it was fine. I was finally being able to see that.
Yeah. And so continue on. It's just like with what you're saying, because you're now saying true statements about you. And so can you like recall briefly? It's just like, yeah, I used just you can do make a really short list of just like these were like two or three core lies I believed, that actually now they were replaced by this specific truth. Like, do you have that, or just
Yeah,
maybe one
it
couple?
was you're fat, like you're not, like, you don't deserve love because
Yeah.
you're overweight.
And you
Like,
mentioned disgrace earlier too.
yeah, like I was feeling like shame, like you're not good enough. Like, you don't belong here. Like, you don't deserve to have friends. You don't deserve to, have a family. Like, you it's just your disgrace. Like, and
Yeah.
that's the lies I was telling myself.
And what truths then replaced those lies?
I think it was just in that session, like, I'm going to go back to that therapy session. Like, it was finally being able to say, are you okay? And finally being able to admit that
Yeah.
I'm not okay, and that I'm dealing with all this, but then learning that, I have hope in Jesus,
And you're not a disgrace.
and I'm not a disgrace, and I'm a son of God.
Yeah. There's a big shift. You mentioned your wife is a big part of your story. So let's go to walk us through briefly where you met, how you met, and then how she would play an intricate role in this direction to the therapy session, because you said you two were in the session together.
Hmm.
Walk us through that journey to that session with
Yeah.
your wife.
So it's a funny story with me and my wife. Like, it's a really funny story. She could tell you like everything what happened from now, but it was. we were at this retreat called Unlocked. You remember
I was
Unlocked?
there, yeah.
Yeah, Unlocked, and it was the last day, and me and Matt, like, we couldn't, like, all you guys were, the table was taken up, and we were like, okay, well, where are we gonna sit? So we just found a table to sit at.
You and your wife?
No, me and
Oh,
Matt.
me and Matt. Okay.
And my eventual wife was sitting at that table. Autumn was sitting at, her name's Autumn. She was sitting at the table with these two other girls named Jenna and Paige. However, during that moment, I didn't see Autumn.
Hmm.
Like, I didn't see her. Like,
Yeah.
I was more fixated on this girl named Jenna, of like, I want to date Jenna. Like, I
Yeah.
want, and eventually I went on a date with Jenna. She's like, and it did really work out. And then she told Autumn, like, you can have him. And so Autumn's like, okay, because at the time at the Young Luck
She
retreat,
saw you.
she saw Matt. She liked Matt at the
Oh,
time.
very nice.
She wanted to date Matt, and it Matt wasn't interested in that, of course. But I think, to me, then eventually me and Autumn met for coffee before we went to Young Adults at Flatirons one night,
Okay.
and we just started talking, and it went well, because I told him to make a drink. I paid, and I said, make a drink once she's here. And so they're like, oh, you're the one we've been waiting for, because so
Hmm.
she came in. And then eventually, me being my over insecure self of, like, I see Autumn texting, I'm like, well, who's she texting? Like, I just went on a date with her, like, like, I
Yeah.
felt,
Yeah.
I was like, why are you talking to other people? So I would look over her shoulder like this, and like, and she felt like that was just not right.
Yeah.
Like, and
Felt
she,
odd. Like, what are you doing?
yeah, and she basically said, you know, this is not gonna work. I hope you find your future wife one day, but it's not gonna be me. And like, and she was like, she blocked me on everything social media. She
I did
like,
not know this part of the story.
yeah, she blocked me on everything social media, like blocked me in my phone number, like, everything. And it wasn't until this young adults gala, that gala that we went to
Yeah.
around Christmas time, and this girl named Cecilia that was part of Flatirons Young Adults. She basically came up to me and told me, Autumn still talks about you every day, like she's playing hard to get.
Hmm.
Like, it felt like God in that like, again, like, in that, looking back at it now, I can honestly say, like, that was God talking, of saying, like, this is the one person that I have for you, that it's going to help you in your journey. And so then eventually, me and her, after we danced the cha-cha slide, Cupid shuffle, like, we went outside to cool off, because we were hot. And then we went back in between the doors, like, where,
The
like, the
atrium.
atrium,
Yeah.
yeah. And we basically got talking, and I put my hand up like this on her in front, and sorry, she was like right here. She basically, I said, would you be able to give us another chance? And she's like, I'm gonna have to think about that. So then the next day she texted me, she's like, you sure you want to take me out again? And I said, yeah, I do. And she so we met for dinner at Modern Market in Broomfield, and we basically talked for 3 hours. We didn't want to leave. Like, we were just talking, we were like loving it. And I eventually said, I have to go take care of my mom and sister, because they're not feeling well.
Yeah.
And I was going to bring them soup, because they weren't feeling good. And Autumn, she understood, but she didn't want me to leave, right?
Hmm.
But eventually, she's like, before our next date, you're gonna have to meet my parents. And so then I met her parents the next day. She had crazy hair day at school that day, because she's a teacher, and she had pajamas. It was crazy hair day and pajama day. So she's in her pajamas and crazy hair at dinner in her mom and dad's house. And we're just talking. Her mom and dad are just asking me certain, like, just questions about myself, and like, just different things, like
Yeah.
what I'm interested in and stuff like that. And then Autumn just does what she always does, is speaks her mind, right? She's like, what, you're not going to ask him all the serious hard questions? And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, really, Autumn? Like, you're going to make him ask me those
Yeah.
questions?
And this is just when you're like first date or something.
Yeah, this was like our
Really just
I got
getting
I got
connected.
yeah, our second date after we got reconnected.
Okay.
And we went to the Blossom Lights, and we were hanging out, and she was trying, we were holding hands and stuff, and she was trying to avoid mistletoes because she didn't want to kiss me, and eventually I caught her under one, and I kissed her for the first time.
Nice. And then
and
it was just
and then
from
we
there.
well, and then we were dealing with a major snowstorm,
Mm.
and I had a Prius, and so I hate driving in snow. Like, even if I'm in a four-wheel drive vehicle, I hate driving in snow. It's one
Yeah.
of my anxiety-ridden things. But she's like, just relax, drive me home, get us home safe. And because I asked her before we left, like, would you be my girlfriend? And she's like, I'll tell you your answer once you get back at home. And she tries to sneak out once we got back at home, back at her house. And I was like, wait, you never told me your answer. She's like, shoot. Like, she's like, I would be an honor to be your girlfriend, and it's been history ever since.
Oh wow, that is a great story how it just all played out together. Uh, I didn't know all the details to that, so that's awesome.
Yeah. And you know my wife, she's
Yeah,
very outspoken.
yeah.
Like, she can be very outspoken and very but it's one of the things I love
But when
about
she
her.
tells
So,
you, yeah,
yeah.
it's like when you just know that it's like, hey, I'll be your girlfriend. It's like sold.
Yeah.
We're in. So how does she help you in your healing process?
I think just being that person that I could talk to, like, you know, in our whole, because we're going to be going on 8 years married this December and 10 years together.
Yeah.
I think just learning to be like, at first, it was hard for me to be able to communicate with her and tell her how I'm feeling because, like, I've never had this in my life before.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had that person that was really trying to come to me and saying, like, let me help you. Right.
Yeah.
And so eventually, I'm nowadays, like, she's helped me where she's like told me like how it is and really telling me like how I should be feeling, and like just being there for me, being my support system. And really, I think that day in therapy, because we were going through marriage counseling still, because it was like our first couple of years of marriage was rough. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we were fighting a lot, like, because we've never really, she's lived with brothers before and I've lived with a sister,
Yeah.
but we've never lived with a person with, like, that we're together with, like,
Yeah.
in our same house. And that's what
That's a
happened.
big adjustment.
It is. And so we eventually were going through marriage counseling to help us. And in that time, like, my therapist that I'm seeing now was also our couples therapist. So he would, like, ask Autumn these questions. I ask me these questions, and eventually trying to help us in our marriage, and it worked. But I think during that therapy session is really when she started to cry after him asking me that question, seeing me cry. Like, I felt like I have this person who loves me no matter what.
Mm.
Like, and because she's the one that set up my appointment with a psychologist to get me medication that I'm still on to this day. But, like, like, it was like God's like saying, like, you should not do this alone. I have this person for you for a reason.
Yeah. So looks like God used a few people in your life. You used like your friends on the bus, your community that you found through church, and then your wife. And so it sounds like God uses people in your life, especially like even when you might not even be aware. But
Hmm.
looking back, you definitely notice it. Because you mentioned your grandparents, you mentioned your mom, and is there any other key figures in your life, or is that kind of all the people, or is there another person that really stands out to you that helped you in your journey?
I would say it would be my counselor in middle school,
Oh, okay.
Mr. Barniel. He was he he was a big help to me because he would, like, take, like, anytime I would have problems, he would take me out of just class just to talk to me and make sure I was okay before he would send me back to class. And that's why I said, in middle school, it wasn't really like I had bullying, but it was like, it was probably not as noticeable because I had this person counselor that was, you know, that was there to help me. But he would, like, come and I would play games with him. He would buy me Subway for, like, lunch, like, just like normal things, right? And so, I would say that would be another person in my life that was big. And then of course, like I said, my mom, grandparents, and friends on the on the bus, friends from that group, and my wife now. So,
Yeah. Even when you weren't listening, you're just glad that they were there.
yeah.
Um,
Because looking back
yeah.
on it, it was like saying because like I'm giving you all these people.
Yeah, love that. So, what would you say now, post therapy session to 5 years ago, 10 years ago, trusting, would you say you trust Jesus differently looking back? Do you like in the sense of because he felt distant? It's just I assume it's hard to trust something that feels distant or not really there. And then you had your therapy session and things felt different. Does the way that you feel like you trust Jesus, do you feel like that's changed? And like I can count on him. Like I know that when I go through, like this is hypothetical or an example, like I know that if I'm going through something, I can trust him that he's gonna bring somebody into my life that I need to have in my life, like he's done over the years.
Yeah, like he's done that. Like through like if I'm having a bad time, I just like he makes me reach out to people like and I have people who I could reach out to.
Hmm.
Like, you know, I could reach out to you. Like
Yeah.
even though you don't answer my calls all the time.
I'm the worst with the phone. I shouldn't even have one.
So I had to throw that joke in here, but
No, everybody who knows me will say that. It's just like too much on my phone.
and so, you know, or reach out to Matt. But like, I'll even give an example now. Like, my car was having problems just like recently.
Hmm.
And like, I kind of figured it out. And my battery, everyone was saying it could be my battery. And
Yeah.
luckily, your brother, like David, like, God's like, I have a person for you to help you out. And
Hmm.
like, David's like, I don't expect you to give me anything. I'm just doing this for you.
Yeah.
And I was
It's out of
like,
love.
yeah. And I was just like, wow, like there's just another thing I can trust God. Like God's like, I have people for you.
Yeah.
Like I have this life for you. I have this purpose for you. Like people are there for you. Like I have put people in your life. Like you still have your family, but you have a new family with your wife and daughter, and you have your friend group, and you have these people at Red Rocks that you could lean on too.
Yeah.
Like you have these people,
Yeah.
but I think really, you know, it's just learning that and seeing that differently because before like I was like, yeah, I had friends, you know, I had friends in high school like that I would hang out with all the time, but I didn't really see it that way. Like I just felt like I don't deserve this. You know, I don't deserve these friends. And nowadays, today to this day, and I'm like, I have people in my life that I could trust.
Yeah. Saying you don't deserve those friends, that's like I think the enemy uses lies like that to really try to convince us of like our identities and different things. And so I know some people watching this believe the same lies that you did, believed maybe some different lies, but like your story, like a lot of it's not like could not be it may or may not be same all the way through, but very relatable to someone watching. What would you tell them when it comes to believing the same lies that you once believed?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that I would, you know, say that I would want people to take, that I would want to take out is like basically like if someone only remembered one thing from this conversation
Mm-hmm.
is that I'd hope it is that your pain does not define you and you do not have to carry it alone.
Yeah.
And no matter what you've been through or like what others have said about you, like healing is possible and God can meet you in the middle of your brokenness. And just like Psalm 34:18 says, like the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. And you know, that's what I would say that I would hope people would take from this is like no matter what you're dealing with, no matter the brokenness, no matter the pain or the suffering that you're dealing with, there is light at the end of the tunnel and there is God helping you to get through that tunnel.
Yeah. What is one practical step that you would encourage somebody if you talk to high school Dylan? What is one practical step that you would encourage somebody to take?
Go to counseling, go to therapy. Like, and I can honestly say that like right away. Like, go to therapy, go to counseling. Like, you might think you're like your pride might get in the way of like, why do I need counseling? Like, why do I
Mm-hmm.
need therapy? Well, it helps you realize what you're going through. Like, you're able to talk to somebody. Like, you're able to see your pain that you cannot see if you were doing it alone.
Yeah. So if you're doing it alone, That's usually done in isolation. Would you say isolation is dangerous?
I would say it's dangerous because like you see people getting isolated nowadays, and like even like famous people, like you would think like they have all the love, they have all the people, fans like looking after them, but then you hear, oh, they committed suicide. You know, like isolating of like my cousin or my best friend in high school committed suicide.
Hmm.
Like, because I also had to deal with that also, my pain and that part of my story too. But like just seeing that again, there's light at the end of the tunnel,
Yeah.
that you're you could get through this.
Yeah. Do you have that Psalms 34:18? Is that
Yeah.
pulled up on your phone? Can you read it again?
The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit.
When did that verse become personal to you?
I would say during that therapy session of like, God was saying, God was close. I finally felt God. I finally saw him. Like it was like literally a God sitting in this room and we're having a conversation.
Mm.
Like it was that like God was close to my broken heart. And it really, he basically saved me.
Yeah.
Because my spirit was crushed. And so being able to save me, like felt I just felt good.
Yeah. So I want you to finish this sentence for me. I know Jesus is worth following because.
I think Jesus is worth following because you have someone that sees you and loves you no matter what you do. And Jesus puts everyone in your life for a reason. He does this for a reason. Like he has a plan for you that you might not agree with or you might not see. But then when you eventually see it and you eventually go through, you're like, oh God, thank you.
Yeah.
It's what I needed. And I think just needing him is a big thing in your lives, because without God, like you could be isolated and you can literally die.
Yeah.
That's how, because if God didn't step in through all my times of high school into my early years of a young adult, like I don't think I would be here right now.
Yeah. I think looking back on my life too, I would say the same thing was I just know God has intervened in my life so many times of just the things that looking back I'm like I shouldn't have gotten home that night, or just like just the different emotions that have like played in the different pieces of life. And it's just like Jesus is so he saves you before you even I think realize he saves you.
Yeah, exactly.
So one second. All right. Okay. So you alluded to this already,
Mm-hmm.
but this is something that I'm doing for every podcast guest that I have on. So before we finish, the last final thing that we do is I'm going to hand you this piece of paper right here, and you're going to write one sentence on it, and you're going to sign your name, and then I'm going to start posting them all over this wall so that every guest that comes in here and it's going to become a staple of the Revive podcast is the people are going to come in here. They're going to write down the one thing of just like, hey, everyone who's going to watch this podcast and has sat down with me is going to walk away with this one thing. And the next guest that's going to come is going to come in here and they're going to read it. So write down and then go ahead. And then after you're done writing, it'll just give you like, there's a couple sentences, a couple of minutes to write down. If you want to push on more paper, I can give you this too. Your signature, just big, bold, whatever you like to do right there. All right. Read for us what you wrote.
God is not done with you. You're loved and you're enough.
Why those words?
Because looking back at my life, like I can finally say like I am enough because I'm still here. Like God's not done with me.
Yeah.
And like I'm loved. I have friends. I have a wife. Like I have a daughter who loves me. I have, parents, grandparents, in-laws that love me. Like, like I have people who love me, and finally being able to see that now after that therapy session of talking to Jesus, of he asking me, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy? Like now I could say, am I a finished product? No. But I'm happier. Like I'm here with Jesus.
And you have purpose. And
yes.
Just like life, who knows what life is going to have.
Yes.
But we're still going forward.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. You're my friend, so we can shake hands. But just thanks for a really good conversation and for being open and honest and transparent. I know we talked about a lot of different hard things and you really opened up, and I'm just so thankful for that. Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing, and I am excited to start posting all these all over the wall.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing all that, and looking forward to seeing whoever else you have on, and
Yeah.
seeing you grow in this ministry. It's pretty cool to see. So
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.